What's going on, guys? This is Dave Hyman, a.k.a. Dynasty Dorks, and this is the SGPN Fantasy Football Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. We're presented to you by WynnBET. WynnBET is now available in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has exactly what you need to win. Sign up today, bet $100 to get a $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. State restrictions apply. So, Brad, we're going to continue our running back series. We've already gotten our consensus 1, 2, and 3 out of the way. We've also got our top 7 running backs. You can go to our YouTube channel, check that out. Please subscribe. It really helps support the show. We're also doing some mock drafts and things like that. So let's get into Sean Tucker. So Sean Tucker is our consensus number 4. Tucker, he's a track champion, shows his speed on the field with explosive play-making ability. After stellar sophomore season in which he rushed for 1,496 yards, he saw a drop in production, which showed some flaws in his game. Last year, he had 206 attempts, over 1,000 yards rushing. He had 11 touchdowns on the ground, 36 receptions, 254 yards with 2 receiving touchdowns. You saw the year before was a little bit better in the rushing, a little bit worse in the receiving. But what you like to see is 2 solid years of good production, over 1,000 yards 2 years in a row, over double-digit touchdowns 2 years in a row. And we haven't seen that from the guys we've talked about previously. He is a very productive runner, and he's from Syracuse, not really known for being the best offense. Brad, let's talk about Sean Tucker.
Yeah, I think we'd be remiss to even mention the fact that look at the guy's freshman season. He demanded some carries in his freshman season with 626 yards. That's even a really tough thing to do at that standpoint, right? So you really got 3 years of really good production from that skill set, and speed is his top pro for me. That's his most beneficial trait. And as Dave said, he was a track champion, and you can absolutely see that speed translating on the field. Now, while he doesn't have the short area burst and that acceleration that you want to see, you still see it in the open field, right? You see him get up to speed, and he can absolutely run away from guys. He did also, you can see it in the stats, see that he has some promise as a 3-down skill set. I would not say that he is a pass-catching running back. Now, 36 catches. That's what you want to see. Again, he's a serviceable kind of guy like that, but I almost equate him to like a Ronald Jones in that regards. Not from a skill set perspective, but the guy can catch the ball, but he doesn't necessarily look good when he does it, right? So that's my bit. That's one of the things that's kind of a pro and a con, right? He does have that 3-down skill set, but his hands are pretty inconsistent at times, and you can absolutely see it. Now, the last pro, his vision. He absolutely has the vision that you want your primary running back to have, to see those holes. But to couple that with a con, or really both of his cons, the other two, he doesn't necessarily have the power and the elusiveness to make guys miss or to run through guys, right? And that's evidenced by the fact he's at a kind of a measly 2.79 yards after contact per attempt, which was 42nd in college football. And if you watch, he just doesn't really do a good job of creating yardage, in my opinion. Now, with all that being said, I do think he's an effective enough guy to really take advantage of what the defense gives him, and he has the speed to break those big plays with some decent blocking up front. So I do think that he does need a pretty solid offensive line in front of him, so that does make him a little bit landing spot dependent. Now, the last thing I want to mention before I get into the player comp, there you see the change in statistics from 2021 to 2022. There is some question marks around, did Sean Tucker get hurt? I believe it was about the 5th game of the season. He kind of went out. And ever since that game, he's looked like a different kind of guy. So you do see a little bit of a tale of two years when you look at Sean Tucker. So you hope that he comes back to kind of what we saw on that film in 2021. But right now, my comp for him is Chuba Hubbard. And that may be a damning thing based on what Chuba Hubbard has been since he's come into the NFL and played for the Carolina Panthers. But I see a very similar, not only size, but skill set as well. Both track stars, right? Chuba Hubbard coming from Canada and being a track champion. Sean Tucker being a track champion. They both have decent vision, not great pass catchers, not great tackle breakers, but I do think they have the absolute supreme speed that in the right situation could be a star at the next level.
Yeah, and with Sean Tucker, you talked about the speed. Speed is something that NFL teams love. We see a lot of these committees, and before in the old days, you had a big guy, you had a little guy, you had special teams guy. Teams don't care anymore because there's so many committees, and they just want 3 or 4 good running backs. And so you might have one guy that specializes in special teams and is kind of your satellite back, and he could end up being that guy if he can improve his pass pro and have more consistent hands, because he does accelerate. We saw, Amir Abdullah's kind of developed into that. We hope for obviously fantasy dynasty purposes that Sean Tucker gets, he gets more running and has a better rushing career than those guys. As far as the size, I can see the Chuba Hubbard. I can see that. And, this guy, like I said, he's fast. He's a very quick guy. And, he's projected to be a 3rd round, 4th round draft pick. It's going to be a fringe day 2, day 3 guy. And all it takes is one team to fall in love with him. And I do think that some of the struggles about, breaking tackles and things like that, I think part of that is the offense. I mean, the offensive line was pretty poor at Syracuse. Yep. And, he was having to get hit behind the line of scrimmage and create a lot. And I do think he did get hurt. You see the attempts went down quite a bit.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in on this episode. Again, check out the rest of our running backs and our quarterbacks. We'll be doing this all season. So make sure you guys subscribe, give us a like, and comment. Let us know your player comp. Let us know if we are too high, too low. And as always, good luck this season.
Cheers.